Hey everybody, welcome to Move the Combat. I'm James and your host Haley and Kenny.
Hey.
Or should I say Kenny? Because I think
Yeah.
that broadcast live.
Did it?
Yeah.
Kenny should learn to stop fucking around before we start filming.
I'm a problem child, I know.
You wouldn't guess because you're always so enthusiastic to be here.
I am enthusiastic, just
Hi,
not...
Kenny. Hi.
If you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic.
Fake
That's
it till
Dale
you make
Carnegie
it.
rule number something.
Just
Something
fake
or
it till
other.
you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
That is the best advice I've ever... No, so it's fake it till you make it, and then anything worth doing is worth doing half-assed. And it's true, because if, you're depressed and you don't want to do anything...
You just do it half-assed.
At least you did something.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was Homer Simpson telling Lisa, like, "Look, if you hate your job, you don't quit. You show up every day and do it really half-assed. That's the American way." Anyway,
I mean, that's fair. Hi,
what are we
welcome to
talking
Move the
about
Com-
today?
Where we do everything half-assed.
We do everything half-assed here and Move to Combat. Clearly.
Or is it an ass half full?
Dear God, I hope not.
Phrasing?
Phrasing?
I think that's phrasing.
I'm disturbed. I don't know how to take that.
I'm just
I
trying to
know
be
you're-
optimistic.
Should we call our HR person?
I
I'm
want
trying
an
to turn.
adult.
I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm trying to be more optimistic. That's terrifying everyone.
Alright, we should probably get on our actual topic for today.
So what is our
We got
topic
stuff to
for
say.
today? Lots of news in the
About
magic
things.
world.
We have lots of stuff to say, clearly, because we're totally not on the topic of any of it.
No.
So, we weren't here last week. I apologize for that. But in the last 2 weeks, there have been a lot of announcements that have been made.
And just other kind of silly things happening.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on right now. There's lots of things in the talks. We all just kind of wanted to let you guys know what's going on and talk to you a little bit about the different news that's been happening in the magic world.
Well, first, it's kind of old news, but I mean, it's kind of important to bring up.
Because it's a constant conversation.
Because it's a constant conversation. Is Field of the Dead got banned, last week, 2 weeks ago?
Just like 2 weeks ago.
2
now.
weeks ago. But things happened with Field of the Dead's ban.
Oh dear lord, did things happen. So, I think it was 2 weeks ago because you saw price spikes happen last week. And then
Oh, yeah.
prices have sort of adjusted this week, sort of not adjusted this week. But yeah, let's talk about that. So, well, we should also talk about the other card that got banned. Not in standard.
Arkham's Astrolabe. Unfortunately, neither of us are really comfortable with the Pauper format, so...
Yeah, it definitely got banned
I mean-
from Pauper, and it's definitely important, but that's not something that's in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, we don't have a good handle on the implications of Arkham's Astrolabe being banned from Pauper.
In case you haven't noticed, we focus primarily with Standard and Commander because those are the formats that we enjoy playing the most.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No.
you. We have a pretty decent wealth of knowledge on that. So it is important to announce that yes, it did get banned in Pauper on the last banned and restricted announcement. I know we didn't forget. We're mentioning it now. We just don't feel comfortable enough giving our 2 cents on it because
Okay.
it's not something that we deal with.
Cool. So Field of the Dead banned.
Field of the Dead is gone from Standard officially and utterly destroying the Golos decks.
Yeah. There is still a Bant Ramp shell that exists. It's just not competitive with the current Tier 1 deck. Singular deck. Which just kind of beats it. And
Yeah,
that Tier 1 deck is... Which one is it?
it's the Oko.
Yeah, it's the
The
Oko
Oko.
shell. At the last it was a Mythic qualifier, right? Or Mythic Championship?
Yeah.
Mythic Championship, about 80% of the meta was made up of both Golos and Oko. And with Golos gone,
Oko kind of
Oko took over that space.
Smugged his way into it.
Yeah. But the Oko shell, it's technically the Oko shell that's the problem. That everybody's saying. A lot of people are attributing it to Oko's existence, but it could be a number of things.
It is a number of things.
Because the deck is just super flexible, and Oko's not the only reason why.
Yeah, no. Before we jump into the Oko problem, though, I think we should talk. What are your thoughts on Field of the Dead getting banned? Because I understand that it effectively wiped out the Golos deck, which kind of was an issue because it saw so much of the meta and being registered there.
Yeah.
But how much do you think that was like the most effective way to go about it?
If they were going to ban a card, it was going to be Field of the Dead.
That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
It was the most ban-worthy card, mostly because it gave the ramp deck an alternate win con that it didn't have to invest anything into.
That's true. Do you think it was worth banning after the rotation though, as opposed to before? Because you started seeing Scapeshift decks take over pre, and then the Golos deck just kind of.
So Scapeshift actually was being handled by cards like Ashiok.
Yeah.
So, but Field of the Dead itself doesn't really get handled by Ashiok, just because Ashiok only stops the searching of lands. It doesn't stop the playing of lands.
Right.
So and all of the stop ETB cards that are in play right now don't stop Field of the Dead either. So there was no hard way to deal with it outside of like Assassin's Trophy and expensive red land destruction spells.
I totally agree with you. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. But yeah, I do agree. I think that Field the Scapeshift deck had more prevalent answers, whereas Field of the Dead, like you said, you can't stop a deck from playing lands.
No.
I mean, you can blow up their lands in response, so you can, like, Assassin's Trophy, the Field of the Dead, or do whatever. But yeah, I do agree. It was giving Golos, like, an alternate win condition.
Yeah.
And that they didn't have, or that they wouldn't have had without it. And clearly that they don't still have, because the Golos deck basically just disappeared.
Yeah, it kind of just fell off the face of the earth. I mean, that's what happens when you get rid of a card that's helping a deck stay competitive with the other powerful deck in the format.
Right.
And I think we should probably jump into that because that's a big deal.
Okay, so yes, definitely. Oko, there's a problem with that deck running rampant, but I don't think that people are using the foresight properly. People are just kind of like outright like ban Oko, ban Oko, ban Oko, and well, banning Oko probably would do something. It would probably do a lot, but it would also make a lot of cards within that shell obsolete, and I don't think Wizards wants that.
No.
Because Oko makes the food strategy viable.
Yeah, Oko's the main reason that food works. But I think Oko himself was not tested enough.
I don't know if he wasn't tested
alongside other sets.
That might be fair. I don't know. Okay, so the Wizards of the Coast play team, specifically Melissa DeTora, she made an announcement, or made a comment, that they kind of severely underestimated the power of Oko's +1 ability.
Yeah.
Which is a problem, because that +1 ability is strong, and that's something that, like, you and I have talked about from the beginning, and a lot of people in our local game shop have talked about, was like, Oko himself isn't necessarily a problem. It's the +1 ability is the biggest problem on him. And like if the +1 was like a -1
or a 0
or something like that, but you can play Oko turn 2, and I think that's when Oko becomes a problem. I don't think he's a problem turn 3, because turn 3 there are a significant amount of answers for Oko. It's when you lay him on turn 2 that you start running into this like, oh, well, now you just got to turn with him. I don't know what to do now. Because
the 3/3 is a big deal on turn 3. For free. It's a 0 mana 3/3. And sometimes if they have the bird turn 1, they can just turn that and do a 3/3 and punch you with it in the air. 3/3 flyer's even worse.
Well, let's not forget too. I mean, Oko, he builds up loyalty pretty fast.
He does.
So, like, because he's got a +2 and a +1 ability, so, I mean, his -5 ability where you can trade something for some, like, a power, I think it's a creature with power 3 or less, I believe is what the ability is. That's seriously...
You know what I think?
Ridiculous, because I've traded food token. I'm like, here, have a food token, thanks for your Knight of the Ebon Legion.
Yeah. I think if they had made Oko with one less starting loyalty, he wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, I think there's several different things. They said that they designed Oko to be powerful. They wanted him to be a big player. They wanted him to see play because he does make the food strategy viable, and I think that's awesome because the food strategy, like, that's something I utilize in my own standard deck. So I think it's a really cool thing, but like I said, like you and I were talking too, Oko gets banned, my whole deck becomes unviable because I run off of a food strategy.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to replace that food effect there with him being gone.
Nope. But a couple other cards in the shell that are also probably contributing it to, in my opinion, like the most are Goose and Grazer. They're the 1-mana ramp creatures. The Goose is the one that makes the food, Golden Goose, and then Arboreal Grazer lets you play the extra land when it comes into play. The 0/3 reach guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are problems as well.
Those kind of contribute to turn 2 Okos being more consistent.
If I have an Oko in my opening hand, I've almost never been able to not play it on turn 2. Like, if I have an Oko in my opening hand, it's probably getting dropped on turn 2. It's very consistent. I don't play Grazers, I only play the Gooses. But yeah, it's more often than not you're getting Oko turn 2, and that's where I think the problem comes in, is with the 1-mana ramp spells like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like Llanowar Elf rotated out, and we got Goose, and Arboreal Grazer was already seeing a bunch of play.
Yeah, because Arboreal Grazer's good. I mean, it's a body that gets you an extra land. So it's good for early game ramp, for sure. Late game, not so much, but that's why I think you see a lot of Goose running around, because like Goose, even late game,
yeah, it's still making food for you.
Yeah, it's still making food for you. It's a constant food producer. You don't necessarily need it for the mana ability anymore. So if you're making food, then you can use your Oko to just consistently make your food 3/3s.
Or like when you're done with the dork, like even the Oko the Planeswalker plays into having a bunch of dorks, because when you don't need the dorks anymore, you turn them into 3/3s and punch your opponent with them.
You make them elks.
Yeah. And then it becomes Golden Elk and Arboreal Elk.
Yeah. No, but those definitely contribute to the problem. Like even the Gooses by themselves, because late game, that's not a dead card.
Nope.
Like Grazer, if you see Grazer like late game and you're top decking a Grazer,
it feels kind of bad.
It feels bad. Top decking a Goose doesn't necessarily feel as bad.
Yeah.
Because you're making a food token, so that's either life, that's another 3/3 that you have. That's like, man, I've been screwed out of this one color the whole game. Here it is. I can play this now, or any combination of that. I think that's definitely a problem. But I think Nissa, believe it or not, is actually. I don't think she's a problem, but I think she's not helping to contribute to that.
So turn 3 Nissa has existed for a while.
Yes.
And I think what Nissa is kind of serves to be the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think she was necessarily a problem.
Playing an Oko, making a guy, and then playing Nissa the next turn can be
detrimental.
Rough. Can be rough. Because that's like 6 power on turn 3.
I haven't done it, but I haven't done it. But no, it's I don't think she's the problem, but I think she contributes to the problem. Like she's like you said, the final nail in the coffin. So like, yes, turn 3 Nissa was around, but now it's like, now I already have an Oko on the board, so I already have this powerful Planeswalker doing this powerful thing, and now I've got like all the mana ramp in the world, and my land base is now an unstoppable army. Like
yeah, it's rough. But with the prevalence of Oko, we've also seen a couple other decks pop up that are paired really well against Oko, and I think the most popular one would be Red-Black Kitty Cooker.
Yeah.
Which is Cauldron's Familiar, which is the 1/1 cat that when it enters the battlefield drains a life, and then Witch's Oven, which taps and lets you sack a creature to get a food. And then the cat lets you pay a food to bring it back from the yard into play.
Yeah. I know specifically like the red-black version of the deck, because it runs like Mayhem Devil in it.
Which makes sacking food rough.
Yeah, it definitely makes stacking food rough. So that definitely is like a direct answer to the food strategy, especially when you're playing stuff like Wicked Wolf.
Yeah.
But I think, and we discussed this a little bit earlier, but I think the mono black version of the Kitty Cat deck that's running around too, also helps put a stop to it.
I think yes and no.
I think the Mayhem Devil is better specifically against Oko, but the mono black cat deck is very consistent. I've seen.
Yeah, it is. But it's.
And it
I
can
think
be
it's
quick.
like a turn or two slower because it doesn't run stuff like Mayhem Devil and Lightning Fist Crusader.
That's true.
Just because it's not getting like the free damage out of Mayhem Devil and that. But IR is a really, really good mid-rangey card.
Yes. Oh, and then in black red too, you also have Ingrath's Rampage.
You do.
Which...
You also have access to Noxious Grasp and Fry is the other one.
Yeah, those are both really, really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've personally, so like I play a teamer deck in standard, and I utilize like the Oko sort of package, and I've had Ingrath's Rampage played against me once or twice, and it hurts. If they can keep my board state to a certain degree, especially like that card can hurt me.
I play the other Simic deck, so.
You play the other Simic deck. He's like, I'm the good guy here.
No. I'm not saying that.
Well, yeah,
it's
an
entirely.
No, I'm definitely the bad guy because I run the Oko package. And,
oh yeah.
And we had this at our local game store. There was like a whole discussion last night. I'm like, well, I utilize it because
it's the best card in standard right now.
It's good, but like my first instinct when Throne of Eldraine came out was like, we all know how much I love Planeswalkers. So my boyfriend looked at me and was like, okay, what cards do you want to play? I was like, Oko. I want to play Oko.
Yeah.
That was it.
So Oko's good.
That was it for me. He's a powerful Planeswalker in standard. He's one of the best that we've had in standard in a while that isn't just like, here, put me in a control shell. Because I hate control. I hate playing control. So the fact that we got a powerful, playable Planeswalker, I think, drew a lot of people to Oko initially.
Yeah.
Just because, like, wait, we have a Planeswalker that we can play now. This is super cool. It's doing this really interesting thing. It's super powerful. It doesn't necessarily go into a control shell. I can put it in a mid-rangey shell or a super aggressive shell because it's doing a lot.
It feels very blue-green.
It does feel very blue-green. It does. And, Sultai is one of my favorite 3-color combos, so the fact that, it fits into a lot of what I do normally when I play Magic, because I have Sultai decks that I play.
You don't have to justify liking Oko.
No, but I'm saying is, like, this is why, like, I was the bad guy last night, because I sit there and I enjoy playing Oko. I think it's fun. I think that package is really cool. I thought the food mechanic was interesting because of the different ways you could utilize it in the set with cards like Wicked Wolf. So it's like, cool, Wicked Wolf comes down, he fights, I sack a thing, it gets a counter, now he's indestructible.
No.
So food can be utilized in more than just the way that food is meant to be utilized, and I think that's really cool. I like building room mechanics like that in standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was the bad guy because there are people who were like, man, Oko's really cool and he's really fun to play, and then there are people who were like, you play Oko, you are the scum of the earth, I hate you, go to hell, I don't ever want to play standard against you again. And I'm like, y'all need to chill.
I mean, I kind of fall in the same boat after the first game, not before it.
That's fair.
Like, I mean, I play Simic Flash, so they play me once and like, I don't want to play a match.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying, but like, this is why there's the argument that Oko needs to be banned, though, and I don't think he needs to be banned. I think they just need to find a way to slow him down.
Yeah.
I think the fact of how fast he is what makes him so stupid, because like I said, if you can play him turn 2 consistently, you can play him turn 2 consistently. So.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. There is another ban restricted announcement November 18th.
Yes.
So in the next 2-3 weeks.
Let's talk about that really quick, too. So, I don't know if anybody has noticed. I know I have. We've had an unusual number of banned and restricted announcements in the past.
Yeah, it's a pretty high number.
Past 2 months.
It's a pretty high number.
In like this month and then in the
Only
next month.
one has affected standard so far.
That is true, but listen, we know the November one is going to affect Standard in one way or another. So whether they ban Oko or ban something in the Oko shell to, like, fix that problem,
Yeah.
or they don't ban it at all and they just let it live, it's going to affect Standard one way or the other.
So we have 3 weeks, right? So the format's going to shake out one way or the other. Oko's going to be the deck to beat. And there are going to be a bunch of people that don't want to play Oko, that build around beating Oko, like the players playing the red-black cat deck. But then there will be people that are playing Oko, and then people that are in blue-green that are in this position where it's like, why aren't you just playing Oko?
I think.
And that's kind of the mentality right now. Because Oko is just so flexible.
Here's the thing is Oko's very flexible, but there's some stuff that I don't think you put Oko in, and I think people are just so focused on the fact that he's blue-green and he's good. So therefore, if I'm playing blue-green, I should be playing Oko. But your deck is a perfect example of, like, you don't have to play Oko every time you're playing blue-green.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know, like, I'm sure Oko would do something in your deck, but, like, not really. Not really?
It's not the Planeswalker I would put in if I were going to
Right,
put in
so
the Planeswalker.
I think, like I said, people were really excited when Oko came out. I think he got put in a lot of things, but I also think he found his niche. Like the decks that he's good in, and I think that people are still trying to jam him into too many decks because he is such a threat. And I get that. But back to this banned and restricted announcement thing that they're doing them every 2 to 3 weeks, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with this next one. I don't know if it's going to affect Standard. I don't know if they may just still be deciding on it, or they may already have things in mind. But my opinion is that they don't want to, at least if they were going to ban something, I figured they should do it all at once the format shakes out.
Okay, can I be honest?
I think they banned Field a little too early.
Yes. I think that they should have left it alone until the November one.
Yeah.
Because every time a new format comes out, we always see something like this happen in the first few weeks. So, like, even like the first month of a new format, like, rotation just happened in Standard, literally less than a month ago. And rotation just happened. We always get stuck in this vat where it's like people are like, man, this old deck is still really good. It's got all these new cards. Man, look at all these new cool cards that I want to play. And, like, there's this vacuum that happens because not a vacuum.
Yeah, it's a vacuum.
But it's a vacuum. This vacuum.
That's exactly what it is.
This vacuum happens, and they need to let everything adjust because I do think that Field of the Dead got banned too soon. I think that they needed to let things settle first. Now, granted, I understand that Field, they waited until after the Mythic Championship.
Yeah.
I think it was the Mythic Championship. But, like, that was good, but I think they still should have I think we should have just waited till November, till, like, because I think November was supposed to be, like, the actual schedule, like, normally scheduled
Yeah,
one.
I think, when's the next set coming out? Next set's coming out sometime
January.
in January. So, like, it's, like, halfway through the format, and the format by then is probably shaken out, and everyone's kind of, like, all the decks have settled into where they're going to be played competitively. It's
like I said,
just, I don't know.
Even if they just waited till November, though, because, like, everything is still trying to settle. Everything's still trying to figure out where it's... So you give it, like, a month and a half to let things kind of adjust, because every format always adjusts like this.
Yeah.
You see a constant cycle in formats where it's like, this deck is really good, and everybody builds the deck against this deck, and then that deck's not so good, and then the deck takes over, so then everybody builds decks to take over this deck, and then it's like a constant cycle, and I think they just needed to let that happen for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like,
I think they may have jumped the gun because of maybe data they saw on Arena.
Right.
It was... So the biggest deck pre-rotation was Scapeshift. It was Field of the Dead Scapeshift.
Yeah.
And
that kind of transformed into
that became Golos. So I don't know.
Well,
because all of the other top tier decks lost a bunch of cards because Ixalan cards and
Ixalan cards
and Origins card and Dominaria cards were huge. All over.
Yeah. They were huge in Standard, which isn't a bad thing. But I think that, like, whether they'll say it or not, it really kind of felt like these 2 October bannings because they had 2 this month.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
A lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot. And I think that they were scheduled emergency bannings.
Mm-hmm.
So they had the one in October scheduled after the Mythic Championship because it was after the Mythic Championship. So like, well, we can see what happens at the Mythic Championship and then make a decision based on that, which is fine. But once again, like, you're still talking about people who have only had these cards in their hands for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I understand. So like a certain number of cards, like, was the Golos deck a problem? Maybe. I don't know. There was an unusually high like number of those decks registered, but it's because that was like what everybody's initial thing was.
Yeah.
It was like, I know this deck was good pre-rotation. It got these cards that are also good, so we're gonna evolve it into this. We know it's a good deck. We're gonna play it. I mean, like, you saw decks like with the past few sets where it's like at the Pro Tour or the Mythic Championships where you saw these decks that came out of nowhere and then everyone was trying to build them and then they were just garbage a week later.
Yeah.
Because everybody, you either built the deck or you built the counter deck, and then the counter deck did its thing, and then they built another counter. They built a counter deck to the counter deck. I think we should have waited till November.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting situation.
It is interesting, and I do think that we have a problem in Standard right now, but it might not stay a problem.
Yeah.
Or, But
Yeah.
What's our next topic?
So we're gonna we Pioneer got announced as a format.
Yes.
Last week.
Last week.
Last
2
week.
weeks ago.
It was last week. Last week, 2 weeks. Like the week after the banning. But it's like a new modern format to take the place. It's supposed to sit between modern and standard because not enough people want to play Legacy because the price for entry.
Who's got money to play that?
The price for entry for Legacy decks is really, 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 really high, and the price for modern decks is really high as well.
Yes.
So team formats team tournaments got really, really hard because you're supposed to have a standard player, a modern player, and a Legacy player, and consistently getting players that want to play at a competitive level, modern and Legacy is really difficult.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let alone vintage.
Yeah, and I think Pioneer also, like, you give it a few more years, and obviously it's basically going to be modern because you're going to have the stretch is just going to keep getting farther and farther.
Well, that's how eternal formats work.
Right. Well, yeah.
That's how eternal formats work. But I mean, now it gives it opens up the form of competitive plays that Wizards can throw at players.
Yes.
So they can reopen up and get way more team tournaments going. They can run Pioneer stuff. It's another eternal format to take part in, and it's kind of a Wild West right now because there's only like 5 cards that are banned, and they're all fetch lands.
Yeah. So let's talk about this really quick. Pioneer. For those of you who are listening who don't know what Pioneer is, Pioneer, if you're familiar with Modern, it takes from a certain step or a certain set up to current, and then it'll continue to stay up to current.
Yeah.
From the set that it started at. So for Pioneer, it's going to start in Return to Ravnica. So there are currently 29 sets in the format that you can build from. The only cards that are currently banned are, like Kenny said, the 5 fetch lands, because, fetches are ridiculous. They don't need to become more ridiculous.
Yeah, they don't want it to be another modern format.
They don't want it to be another modern format. They want it to be more accessible, I think. So that's cool. That's great. I think there's going to need to be more bannings, like, almost immediately. Yeah. I think that the November 18th announcement is specifically designed for Pioneer.
Yeah, it's totally for Pioneer.
Yeah.
So a bunch of cards spiked preemptively because of the Pioneer announcement.
The current running theory is that as of right now, Pioneer's meta is going to consist of the decks that were best in Standard in these sets.
Yep. So your Aetherworks Marvel deck, your Temur Energy deck, your Abzan Rhino, the stupid Delve decks that were all over the place during that format.
Yeah.
Collected Company, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, so Esper Control, the Scarab God, all that.
Yeah. So,
Along with
the
various
reason
decks.
we have this information, for anybody not in the know, there was an interesting phenomenon that occurred 9 days before Pioneer was announced, and there was a lot of the cards that we just mentioned happened to spike significantly in price, which means somebody had insider information and went like, I'm going on the second-hand market and we're gonna buy all this up.
Yeah.
So if there's a website called MTG Goldfish where they show you like the graphs of how the prices go. You saw all of these prices on like
I'm surprised Magic insider trading doesn't happen more often, to be honest.
Wizards is actually pretty good about that most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, leaks happen for new sets a lot, but announcements are generally kept pretty close to the chest.
Yeah, leaks happen sometimes. But, so when this happened, like I said, MTG Goldfish will show you like the graph of how the prices, and every single one of these cards has a graph that was like 9 days, exactly 9 days before the format was announced. Because the first route that you're going to go to in a new format like this, I think, is like, what was my favorite standard deck to play back then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then now you've got these others, you've got, 29 sets to deal with, so you're like, okay, well, what was that deck, and now how can I make it better with everything else that's included? Like, I already personally know what I want to build, and my mana base is 100 times better than it was in the standard that I was playing it in, and I am so excited for that.
So my favorite deck in the last couple years was Blue-White Flash. Go figure. And turns out Spell Queller plus Teferi is not fun for anybody but me.
See, I'm just excited because I played, my favorite standard deck is a Naya Xert deck, which you did not see pop up in a lot of places, but I had a great amount of success with it.
Yeah, you did.
I could bring back my song, Eternal Lives.
You can totally bring back Eternal Lives. But now my deck just got at least a turn faster with all the lands that we're going to have in this, because
That sounds like a cool format.
We got some weird lands in the Innistrad block.
Right.
The Shadows over Innistrad block with like the reveal lands, and I was like, why am I telling you what's in my hands?
No.
This is not what I want to be doing.
But it comes to play untapped.
And so my land base just got better, especially for the 3 colors, because it was really hard to incorporate green, but the deck needed green.
Yeah.
So I think that Pioneer is going to be interesting. I hope that we see success with it, because I would love to play this format, and I think it'd be cool to play. But in order to play a format, you need people to play with.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, like when they first introduced Brawl, they were like, man, Brawl's gonna be so cool, you're gonna do all this stuff, and everybody built their Brawl decks, and they played in their store, and then they stopped.
And then when
there
was no support for it.
There was no support for it. But then you got to the first like big Brawl tournament, and one guy showed up, so he won by default.
Yay!
Because one guy signed up for the Brawl tournament, which is awesome, I guess. But I would love... I think this will be cool. I think it'll be more accessible than Modern. I think I will like it more than Modern. And I would like to at least try playing it.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping people get on board with this, because I think that it will be fun. But that ban list is gonna have to change.
Oh yeah, no.
There's
probably gonna see Felidar Sovereign get banned, among other things.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Dig Through Time like a banned or restricted in like every other format?
Yes.
Yes.
So is Treasure Cruise, and it's also Pioneer legal.
Yeah.
Yes. So I do imagine that we'll see some changes happening fairly quickly.
Yeah, of course.
November 18th. We're waiting. There's probably going to be a small list of cards on there that are going to get banned.
There's probably lists of lists.
There's a list. There's going to be a list.
Yeah.
I put a list in your list.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be a fun format though.
Yeah, it will be.
I think I'll like it. I think I'll like it.
I think even I'm interested in it, which is saying something.
I think it's slow enough that it allows fair decks room to breathe.
Right.
Modern does not.
No, Modern's a turn 3 format.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're playing a fair deck, then you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
At least at the highest tiers
Levels.
of play.
Right.
So hopefully that's how it ends up, allowing like fair decks
I think this.
room.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to see more fair decks in this format. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this format will have a little bit of room to breathe, especially like when it's not like, turn one, fetch.
Wild West.
Turn one, fetch, shock land, shock myself, play my turn one play.
And then
Like every modern game goes ever.
or just like turn one fetch land, bolt, or Simic Exile, Simic Spirit Guide, bolt.
Yeah, I think we're
Which
gonna
is
have room to
fun.
breathe, and I think that's why I will like it, because I like playing Magic, not playing a game.
Yeah.
What turns out 3 games turns out to be about the equivalent of 1 game. So
It's very, very fast.
yeah, we'll see.
It's very punchy.
Now for the big announcement that happened today,
Commander.
which I think I'm most excited about.
So we got an announcement for what Commander's going to be doing for the next year.
2020 is gonna be Commander's Christmas, y'all.
Oh yeah. So was it Ikoria? That's the big one to look forward to.
Ikoria?
Ikoria.
Ikoria, I think is how they pronounced it.
So Ikoria comes out April 24th next year, and there will be 5 new Commander decks with 71 new cards appearing at the same time on pre-release, and they will be available on pre-release to play, along with a bunch of cool reprints that are going to be in the decks.
So this is different. So not only are we seeing our Commander decks come much earlier in the year than we normally do, but that's not the only Commander decks we're getting next year.
No, we're getting
But the fact
a lot.
that it's releasing alongside of a set is super interesting to me.
Yeah.
So they did clarify, and we will put in our YouTube video, when we upload this later, we'll put the link to the original announcement video, because they will have everything you need to know that we know about it currently in there, and it's a good thing to watch. But man, we're getting 5 Commander decks with a set, and that's either gonna be incredibly stupid or incredibly smart business wise.
Well,
But
okay.
I'm gonna be excited about it.
So when Commander first came out, the decks were released in sets of 5. So it's not
Correct.
like it hurts Commander.
No. So I'm referring to the fact that they're releasing 2 major products
With-
at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're kind of splitting things there, which could be interesting. Well, okay, so it's like, I'm gonna spend so much money on Magic this month. Do I want the Commander decks or do I want the new Standard set?
Okay.
That's why I think it's gonna be either incredibly smart or incredibly stupid. And I say incredibly stupid in the business sense, and the fact that you're probably splitting your money. But it could also be incredibly smart because, oh my god, 5 decks at the same time Ikoria comes out.
Well, in my experience, Commander players tend to buy singles over
Yes.
packs.
That's true.
Where at when a set first comes out, because
Yeah.
they already have their Commander deck built,
Mhm.
and they buy the singles they need to improve it that are coming out the new set, or they like a new Commander and they buy that Commander and then just buy whatever cards they need for it if they don't have
Right.
them. So having precon Commander decks come out, it just kind of wraps the Commander players and the Standard players into the same release, which I think is pretty intelligent in my opinion.
Well, it depends on the players too.
That's true.
Like, you and I play both, so I mean, we would probably be a little split on that. But at the same time, we're getting 71 brand new Commander cards in these 5 decks, and that is awesome.
It is. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really excited.
Okay,
I'm
so
totally stoked, guys.
I just don't know. So there's a bunch of things I want to buy now, but I don't have a lot of money to buy things with. So I'm like, but I want them.
but I want
Which is
them.
why you should like, comment, and subscribe to our videos so we can suddenly become YouTube sensations. We can afford our Commander decks.
Housekeeping. We just want to afford our Commander decks, please.
Pretty please.
Pretty please. But no, 71 brand new cards in any Commander set is like,
Well, they said it was the most ever.
yeah, it's definitely
Which-
the most ever.
Yeah,
It's relevant.
Yeah. And then, we get a bunch of, they said the reprints that they're going to be having in these decks are going to be like substantial.
Yeah.
Pretty
Cool.
substantial.
Very
So we're
cool.
gonna have lots of cool reprints in it.
I just want a Gaia's Cradle reprint.
Of course you do.
It'd be great.
I think it's also interesting that they specified that the 71 new cards that are being released with the Ikoria commander. Yeah,
Ikoria?
Ikoria.
Ikoria. I misspelled it.
You did misspell it, and Kenny messed up our notes.
Were you thinking
Fixed
of
it.
IKEA at the time? So like,
No, because it's like
there's a new
I was
Magic,
writing fast and I missed a vowel.
When you
There's a
Okay.
new Magic set coming out, and you assemble modular furniture to cast your spell.
yeah, that's exactly what you do. But these 71 new cards that are coming on
That's
these.
unhinged. Or unstable.
I'll wait.
Sorry, continue.
Nope, go ahead. I'll wait.
No, I was just commenting that the IKEA version of Magic was unstable.
He isn't
yeah.
wrong.
No, you're not. But so these 71 new cards that we're going to be getting in these 5 commander decks are not new with the set. They're new in addition to
Yeah,
the set.
yeah, they're not part of
That's pretty
the
crazy.
base
Yeah,
set. They're their
so-
own thing.
You're not going to be able, like, you're not opening these 71 cards in Ikoria booster packs. You're opening them only in the commander decks, and that's really cool.
Yep.
That
I
is
think
very
because
cool.
that's like a lot of new cards at once. So if that's not Christmas, I don't know what is.
Christmas in April, y'all.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get 2 more precons with Zendikar Rising, that are gonna be a little bit more thematic. I believe the reason why is they wanted to support different mechanics that don't have a lot in the commander format.
No, maybe my understanding of these decks is so there's going to be 3 new cards per deck for these 2 decks for Zendikar that are releasing alongside Zendikar Rising. So you're going to get a brand new legendary for the commander, and then there's going to be 2 other cards in the deck that are new as well. My understanding of them is they're supposed to kind of be like the intro commander decks.
Okay.
So, they're gonna be like your standard staples for commanders. There's gonna be like the Sakura Tri-Builders
Yeah.
and like Cultivates and stuff like that. They're still gonna be like the pre-con decks that we know and love, but they're gonna be more focused on reprinting and getting the staples and the basics in the new commander players' hands and make them more accessible. Because
That's cool.
I love the pre-con decks, and I tell anybody who's trying to get into commander to buy
pick
one
one
of the pick one of the pre-con decks up and go from there and start adjusting based on that. But some of those decks can be kind of complicated for brand new players, even still. So these are supposed to be like, you're brand new to Magic, you really want to learn how to play commander, this is for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly smart for them to do with commander.
Definitely.
And we're getting another spellbook. It's
But it's different than the ones we've had before.
it's not a planeswalker spellbook. It's a commander focused spellbook for the color green,
And
which
it's-
is the most important color in commander.
Yeah, so it's called the Commander Collection Green. If you're familiar with the signature spellbooks, well, how it like picks a character and then it picks 8 cards based around that character, and they give them new artwork and do that thing based around this. So this is going to be just for green. So there's going to be 8 cards. They're going to get completely redesigned artwork. They're all going to be reprints, but they are going to be like important
Gonna
cards.
be fancy
that-
reprints.
Yeah, they're going to be fancy reprints. And it's there's going to be 2 versions of it, a foil and a non-foil. So you can pick up either or.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to be up to you. But I think this is going to be kind of cool depending on what cards we see in there. Because if we get some really solid green reprints and they're like really pretty, I'm totally on board.
Yeah. The video that this announcement took place in, they did display a couple art pieces that are coming into the green set, and they both look really, really good.
They look really pretty. They look really cool.
Yeah. And then our last one is we're finally getting a dedicated set for Commander
That you can also draft.
that is draftable.
Yeah.
It's called Commander Legends. They don't have a hard date, but they know it's going to be the 4th quarter, so the end of 2020.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of, I want to say it's like modern, the last modern set that came out.
No, it's gonna be
How
more
do you
like
how
like-
do you
like-
draft it if you don't necessarily
Modern Horizons is what I'm talking about. Not,
no, it's gonna be more like a battle bond or a conspiracy.
what you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna
Well, how would a draft with Commander work? Because like,
So the cards are geared towards Commander, but they're draftable.
be. Let me explain.
well, I'm just saying, like you do a draft and you don't end up with a Commander card.
That is not possible, and
Okay.
I will tell you why.
Tell me why.
So, the way these boosters for this set are set up are they're going to be 20 card booster packs. Each booster pack guaranteed has a foil in it, and they guarantee have 2 legendaries in that pack, and we're getting 70 new legendaries that can be for Commander.
Yeah.
Draft Commander, I dig it.
We're getting 70
you-
new legendaries.
you can-
70.
You can draft your own Commander deck and play it at an event out of
Yeah.
this set.
It's pretty cool.
It's yeah.
I mean, that's the plan.
That's
Because
very cool.
they up the cards in the pack by 5,
Mhm.
and it's like it's like 3 cards a piece or 3 packs a piece. Or they can do 6.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. And I mean, like with, I think we're gonna see some new rules pop up for draft, or like some sort of structure pop up for draft, because when you draft, your deck is obviously smaller,
Yeah.
and when you're doing a draft like for Commander, it obviously can't be like.
100.
Are they gonna follow like it's a 100 card deck, but you can't do singleton format for it.
You can't. No.
No, so I think it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be like a normal type draft, or if they're going to have a special set of rules for it, like Commander drafting. But like we said, so there's going to be 20 cards in each of these packs. You guaranteed get a foil, you guaranteed get 2 legendaries, and there's going to be 70 new legends.
Yep.
So that's kind of nuts.
Yep. And they did tell us there's a new Baron Senger. For sure.
For sure. It's confirmed. The guy was way too excited to keep it in.
Yeah, and they showed another artwork, and it's just my speculation, but I think it's Jeska, which is the sister of Kamal. She's the character who becomes Phage the Untouchable.
Yeah. So one of the things they did say is some of those legends are going to be planeswalkers.
Yeah,
And she was confirmed as a planeswalker because her artwork
is vertical, not horizontal.
vertical. Yeah. But there's going to be lots of interesting stuff in this set, and I'm kind of on board. So when one guy in the video, Josh, he said that like some of his favorite sets that have come out for stuff like this are like the conspiracy sets and the battle bond set, and I was also a huge fan of those sets. I think they're really fun. I think they're usually pretty well designed. They have like a lot of cool mechanics introduced into them. The fact that we're getting 70 new legends that we could build off of, like, I like trying to fathom this, because like 70 new commanders that I could build, like
It's a lot.
that's insane. You could do
Yo,
some
dog, I
fun
heard you like
stuff.
Commanders, so put Commanders in your Commanders.
So, yeah, that was like, so 2020 is gonna be Commander Christmas, just the whole year.
It's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
I
We're
got
getting
this
so many
sneaky
new decks. We're
suspicion,
getting-
though, of something that I think they're not mentioning.
which is
I got a feeling that they're going to try to make a new Commander format similar to what they're doing with Pioneer, and say everything before this set is off limits.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They already did that with Brawl, and it wasn't very successful.
And Commander started off as a casual format created by players. It was adopted by Wizards because it was so popular.
Yeah.
That's true.
Most of the official rulings on Commander and everything are made by a separate committee that's not actually part of Wizards.
I don't know.
So
I've had this feeling. I've had this feeling I can't quite shake for a while now.
Well, we won't know until it happens.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's important to note that they're not sure if this is how they're going to continue with Commander stuff. They're doing it for the whole year of 2020. Is throughout the year we're going to get all this Commander stuff. We're going to get all this awesome stuff. But they did stress that, like, if this is something we want to continue, if this is stuff that we like, they need feedback for this. If this is something we're really excited about, they need that feedback.
Testing the water.
Yeah, this is their.
It's a market test.
There's the guy in charge of this stuff is a huge avid Commander player, and he wanted to give it more support and be able to do more with it, and so they're testing how they want to do that. So it's all going to be like they're trying a bunch of different things. This is the most recent one they're trying. If we like it, we have to let them know. If we don't like it, we have to let them know what we don't like and what we do like, and what we want to see, because they're listening to us.
Yeah, and don't be the typical nerd audience and hate on everything because it's not exactly what you wanted.
Right. Well, they said with the Commander Legends too, like, so we're getting the 70 new Legends, but they also said that they're going to be reprinting a lot of Commander staples in the set that people have been asking for.
Which is really good.
Which is really good. Like the reprints that we're going to be getting next year, I think, is going to make Commander.
And it's a lot of cards that are good in Commander, but nowhere else, and they've only been printed by like once or twice, so their price is way too high.
Right.
So
just due to availability in paper.
I think it's going to be able to make Commander much more accessible, and I think that'll be a really good thing.
Cool.
Yeah, and then
we have one more announcement, and I think Haley wants to do it because she's super excited.
It is one more minor announcement that we would like to state that Move to Combat does not officially support when people leak things, because that's not cool. It wasn't your information to share. You stole other people's information. But dudes, we got our first look at Theros because somebody leaked it.
Looks
I'm excited. Cool. We're getting Sagas back. They leaked Elspeth. I'm not going to tell you to go look at them, but just be very, very aware that they're on the internet for your pleasure.
They're somewhere on the internet. Just have to look.
They're somewhere on the internet, and guys, Elspeth is back. Theros is happening. Enchantments are everywhere.
It's great.
We're excited.
Yes.
Elspeth.
Not only did we get Commander, but we also got Theros.
Elspeth is one of my favorite planeswalkers, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. So once again, we don't condone leaks. It's not good. You will never see us put leaks on this show.
We will never put unofficial leaks on the show.
For your pleasure. We will never put unofficial leaks. But be aware that they are on the internet for your viewing, because we've totally viewed them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've totally viewed them, and you guys should be excited.
All right, cool.
That's the last.
I want to plug in a word. I want to plug in a word from our sponsor.
We have a sponsor?
We have a sponsor.
What?
If you happen to be in the Dayton, Ohio area next week for ArcadeCon, which is a gaming convention, a game that Kenny and I are both working on, we'll be debuting there. So feel free to show up. And if you look for events that say Vinerake, VINERAKE, that is us, and you can meet us in person and hopefully talk about the show with a handful of people that watch us that coincidentally might live in Dayton, Ohio. So I just wanted to throw that announcement out there because it would mean a lot to us if people from the area would show up. Please play our game.
Guys, it's a really good game.
Yeah.
They've worked really, really hard on it. It's really good.
Cool. I'll be adding more plugs later on when we have an official website. We have like GoFundMe stuff we can do for that. It is the unofficial sponsor of Move to Combat.
Yay! First sponsor.
We made it. We have a sponsor.
The sponsor is us though, so it's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell them that. Just say we've got a sponsor. Shut up.
Well, if you like this episode, you can check all of our back episodes on our YouTube page, which you can find by going to our Facebook page. We're searching for Move to Combat, where our links are there, or you can check them out on our Twitter page at Add to Combat. I wish I had the YouTube up, but it's a crazy long string of numbers because we're not popular enough yet to have a named channel. So you can help that by commenting, and subscribing to our videos. You can email us at movetocombatpodcast@gmail.com, and you can catch us here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our music is produced by me. You can find it at soundcloud.com/JAMESSHAIEB. That's me. Please don't shoot me. And it features
violent.
Exactly. Features our local rapper Ron Bilas, who was a really cool rapper to work with. So that's about it. I hope everybody has a good night and have a happy Halloween.
Later.